Good morning, church family. Pastor Brad here with another encouraging word. And this morning's encouragement comes from Mark chapter 1, verse 35. Speaking of Jesus, it says this, rising very early in the morning, while it was still dark, he departed and went to a desolate place, and there he prayed. It's a simple verse, kind of obscure to some degree, but I just love the picture it paints of Jesus getting up before everybody else in the house while it's still dark outside and finding a place to spend time with his Father. His desire was such to be with God, to share in communication, to be in the near presence of the Father. And as always, Christ is our example. He's the one whom we as Christians are supposed to strive to be like. And I look at that desire of his longing to be with God, to spend time in prayer with God. And I know sometimes that's not always the desire of my heart. And I know that it's not always the desire of our hearts. But we as Christians ought to love God in such a way that we're always drawn to his presence as Christ was. We ought to make a priority to spend that time, even if it means we have to get up early, even if it means we have to find a quiet place, wherever that might be, whatever that might look like in your own life. But as we look at Christ and we see his life, and man, God, I want to be like him. He was one who always sought the time to spend with the Father, and as we look at his example, we know in our hearts, and that should be us. That should be an aspect of our lives. That should be an aspect of our walk with him, to find time to be alone with him. And so my encouragement this morning is this: do that. Find time to be alone with God, to share in communion and communication with him, that your relationship might be strengthened, and that your day might start with the peace and the love and the joy that we can only get from a right relationship with God. Let's pray. Gracious Father, I just thank you so much for the day you've given to us. I thank you that you've given us such a wonderful privilege in prayer. Help us, God, to always carve out time for it. Make time for our relationship with you, to be in your presence, hearing from you, speaking to you. God, that we might, in everything, submit ourselves to your will. And Father, that our day might start off on the right foot.